Okay, welcome class to your another lecture on urban regional transportation. And in this lecture, we'll be starting a new topic in which I will be talking about how transportation is impacted by the shape of the city, how different systems of the city interacts with each other. So let's start on from the first component. We'll revisit urban transportation. There are three parts. This presentation or this section of our lecture series will be on the before mid. I usually do this the urban transportation system at your city level, like at the urban level at one city scale. And in the next section, we'll be moving on to regional transportations. So the first is like part A we'll be talking about will be the transportation and urban form, how transportation and then land use interact, and how to enhance urban mobility in a city. So we'll start with the first part, that is transportation and the urban form. So if any one of you they recall that how much transportation is important for urban planning is that whenever you just see the city map, for example, so one of the most distinct features of any map or satellite images, the roads, the road network, which gives you an idea of how city is designed, how mobility is there, how much people move in a city. So transportation has emerged as one of the key component which highly interacts with the urban design and the physical form of the city. How transportation or networks, roads, or whatever type of transportation thereof is basically affecting the design of a city. In other words, the urban form. So urbanization, let's revisit that why urban transportation is important, that urbanization has been happening and we have been transitioning from rural to more urbanized characteristics. We are using more characteristics which can be attributed to the urban areas. And like people, a lot of urbanization is happening, especially migration, natural increase, and conversion of rural areas to urban areas. So these are the key components which this urbanization is formed of. So you might have gone through these different types of urban hierarchy, different populations, that how they evolved from village level to large urban areas. So this is a description of some different urban hierarchy concepts in which city then two big cities merge into conurbation and metropolitan, which is usually characterized as a population with over 1 million population, mega cities, and then so on. So depending upon your urbanization processes, like we can either rural urban, but it has now become more complex. Like we cannot easily distinguish between urban and rural areas. Like there are no such thing as pure urban and pure rural. So now, in fact, what has happened, we have moved on to a very complex structure in which large regions are formed, and there are small cities or settlements in which they are interacting with each other. So evolution of urban planning or urbanization has taken place over some time. So this is just a map showing the lot of metropolitans, and we'll be focusing on big cities and urban transportation in the big cities as well. Population has increasing all over the world. There are different metropolitans and rapid change of population is happening in these cities. Where region Asia is the most rapidly urbanizing continent in the world. Okay, now which brings us to our first part, urban form. Like the shape of the city or the size of the city is highly dependent upon the number of inhabitants it has. So that will affect your densities as well. So the first part is the urban form, in which we will be focusing on what is urban form. So urban form is basically a physical imprint or physical shape of the city, which shows you some kind of spatial features, physical features of an area. So that is urban form. And then there is urban structure, in which different parts of cities, it might be land use, how they are interacting with each other, why people are traveling from one part of the city to another part of the city. So how these shapes and sizes of the city, they are interacting with each other. So First is urban form, urban structure. So we'll have a whole different lecture on urban structure. But then now we'll start with urban form, and then I will go into land use as well. So the first part of the component we'll be focusing on today is the urban form, the physical imprint of the city. So you might have seen like there are different shapes or different particles. Yes, sir, Bas, please.
There was another student.
Sir, आपकी आवाज
And in the moment,
Okay.
I tell them, okay.
सर
What
पीछे
about?
कोई बहुत आ रहा है
Okay, let me.
In my system.